So I got stain on my jubah, on my outfit from the brownies. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm always up in my head, always thinking about something. And just last night I was actually paranoid before I went to sleep. I was hit with this sudden anxiety and started to feeling anxious. And that rarely happens usually, especially when I'm alone in my bedroom. Like that rarely happens. It usually happens in a crowded place. But what drives me to that point is I realized that it's because of the lack of sleep, overthinking, always on the internet, always consuming. That's an issue. I become easily irritated. I couldn't sleep. The lack of sleep makes me couldn't sleep, and then I start to get stressed out, and I keep this is something quite, I don't know if it's a good thing, but when I'm stressed out, I try to think about a place. I try to bring my head to a place where I would feel safe, but it's just my head. Physically I'm still here, but mentally I'm not there. And sometimes that's a good thing, you know, to distract yourself. But I feel like I come to the point that I kind of believe my own delusions, the kind of life that I want to live, to the point that that's just not the life that I'm living. So when those life become unattainable for me, I become stressed out, and then I become anxious, I get paranoid, and then I'm thinking, how can I bridge the gap between the fantasy and reality in just between the reality to fantasy with a snap of a finger. And so obviously that's impossible. When I was reading this book called If I'm Thinking of Ending Things, that's how I feel. If you read the book, there's just so many thoughts. The thoughts that you would think that it's quite insignificant, but there's just so many things, you know, so many things that the characters are thinking, to the point that you believed it. I feel like the character has some kind of issues with their mental health issues. I feel called out because the character does not like where they are in their life. So they try to fill this void with fantasies, with the life that they think they should have, while doing some very mundane chores. And it makes me think that is scary. But what scares me the most about the story is when you never try to get yourself out of that situation, and instead of actually step back and reflect on yourself, why you act like that, why you act in a certain way to the point that you feed your own delusions, that you believe in it, and it shows the consequences of that. It's a story about the main character and his boyfriend, her boyfriend, Jake. She's thinking of ending things with Jake. They're on their way to meet Jake's parents, even though she's thinking of ending things with Jake. The character is all up in her own head, and she viewed this guy, who she called as her boyfriend, to be someone who's very, very, very smart. But then at the end of the book, you realize that is actually how he sees himself. That is the perspective that other people are supposed to have of him. He thinks he is smart, he thinks he is handsome, and that's how he feels like his girlfriend should see him. You know, like there's this one quote, I don't remember who said this, I think I saw it somewhere on the internet, where like something along the lines of, try to engage with the big things rather than making the mistakes of thinking that you are the big thing. Scarily, eerily, I feel like I relate to him at some point. I wouldn't say that I would go as far as imagining the things that he did. I mean, can I say that though? You would think that you're not crazy, but what if you actually are, but you just don't know about it? But I'm not a psycho. So when I'm stressed out, I will squish it. I do find Jake, or the janitor, to be relatable, because he thought that he is all that. Or maybe he knows, but he just wants to make himself believe that he is all that. And it's sad. But that's also what happens when you trick yourself into believing that your fantasy is your reality. And that book, it has been lingering on my mind. I think I've read it. I finished reading it 2 weeks ago. It got me thinking, like when I feel like I'm too deep into my own delusions, it got me like, ooh, I think you need to step back. Like I said that to myself, I think you need to step back. It's okay. I always have to counter what I think, stop myself from thinking way too much, because I'm afraid that I would also start to believe in my own delusions, and the only person that can get you out of it is yourself. I mean, you can go to a psychiatrist, but that requires money. So we're just gonna talk yourself. I'm just gonna talk myself out for now. But I mean, mentally I'm fine. It's just that it's kind of scary when the biggest liar is you, is yourself. You're lying to yourself. I like the book. If you haven't read it, I would really recommend for you to read it. It is, and most surprisingly, it is the debut novel. It is a debut. It is the author's debut novel.